Well, it's good to be back. And that was an exhausting game. Because both teams played really hard defensively. And that's what saved it for us. Because the lack of practice, the lack of conditioning really had its impact, and they did, on our offensive execution and shots, free throws. But it did not defensively and rebounding wise. Mark has not rebounded well, and tonight he rebounded great and made that one block that was a key play in the game, because then we took it down and Jeremy got fouled on. And so that was a big game for Mark. We weren't able to finish inside. We had it there 7 or 8 times, and the kid Mecca really did a good job, and so did Moore, protecting their basket. So, they have all those guards in the game, and Josh does a good job with his team. And then when you're not at peak shape, when you change those defenses, it can really stand you up. And at the end of the game, when they went to the 1-3-1, I thought it made you think you're tired, and so then you're making arm passes instead of really strong moves. But overall, it's a good win for us, coming off of this has been really a tough time for us. And there's still more and more cases around in our athletic department, and just a tough time. We got to keep working at it, and now most of our team has had it, most of our staff, and we just got to start building again. But it's very unusual. I've never gone through anything like this, and so I'm learning as I'm doing it, because last year we never had this. Our program didn't, and it's a big thing. It's a big thing. I hope we can get out of it and keep because we're not close to being the team we were, before the break. But we can be, and we just gotta keep going. So, any questions that you all might have?
Hey, Mike, I wanted to ask you about the conditioning. You touched on this yesterday about the idea of don't binge condition, don't push it too much. Do you have a plan, let's say, for the next couple of days, or how you go about doing this?
Yeah, and we start school tomorrow, so you have, I just said to John Roth on radio, these kids can have NIL and have $1 million deals, but you still have to give them, you can only work with them 20 hours a week, and you still have to give them a day off every week, and they have all these rules, but then you have no rules. And so like tomorrow is a day off, because it's part of our week. And so what they need to do on their own is, one, they can get therapy, so they can be in tubs, and then they start school. And obviously they can do some things on their own, cardio-wise, on a bike, on a treadmill, and use Normatec, use things that for your legs, cold tubs. The Normatec I'm not hawking for them, but that's one of the things they probably have those Therabodies in their rooms right now. A couple times offensively, I wanted to use it right here. But no, I wish I could tell you there's an exact plan. I follow the advice of my sports scientists and my docs and trainer, and for this, but we didn't get anybody hurt today. So it's what you worry about with pulled hamstrings or groin or whatever. So it's going to be a while, But it's a long season. It's a long season, and we can't get caught up with the daily and weekly comments that people make about the teams, like who's hot, who's this, who's number 2, who's number 4, who's, they really don't mean a damn thing. It's good for fans and that. The main thing is to be good at the end of the year, healthy, and qualify for the tournament. And so we got to keep our eye on that lane as we come back.
Yeah, on that same note, just how important was it to have that practice yesterday and get everyone back and just be in the same room together?
Yeah, great, And the day before we had most of the team, but it was more shooting and a little bit of running. Yesterday was actually a practice. And it was tempered, really, because you can only go so long. And one of the kids, he was back for the first day, after 2 minutes he threw up. And then he must have had, and then he came back to practice and did well. And, the last 10 days for me have been very interesting. And everyone says it's a farewell tour. We got detoured here. But again, that's what we're supposed to do this, so we'll figure it out.
Luke, go ahead. Speaking of farewell tour stuff, did you know before the game that Georgia Tech was trying to get Bobby Cremins here?
Yeah.
Okay, and what was were you surprised not to see him then? I guess?
No. Josh is a good guy. He's a good coach. And he called me yesterday and said, Coach, we were going to have Coach Cremins come, and when they did introductions, at least do a handshake. He said, but he's not going to be able to come because he got sick. There was something wrong. And I said, well, try to get him to come, and why don't you let him coach the team and see what. No, but Bobby and I are, we're two of the guys in this league, man. He and I and Jimmy were, during that time, that was a moment, a decade. The Georgia Tech Duke games from about 85 to the early 90s were some of the elite games in the history of this league. And Bobby was not only a great coach, but Bobby is genuine. He's really one of the most, he's as genuine a guy as I've known in coaching. And the other guy close to that is Gene Cady. And that doesn't mean other people aren't, but they go overboard. No, they do. Yeah, they do. They're really good men.
Yep.
Mike, this is kind of becoming a broken record.
You guys don't mind every once in a while I reminisce, right? I mean, what the hell? It's almost midnight. I told them to have some wine and some drinks for you, but they didn't have them.
I was going to say it's kind of becoming a broken record in a good way, but again, AJ Griffin comes off the bench and just made one huge play after another.
And AJ's only practiced one day, and that stopped. He had worked his butt off since the Ohio State game, every day, individual work, extra, and he's climbing, and he's a guy that you really didn't want to see, have this stoppage, and still he responded, and he'll continue to get better. He's done a really good job.
Coach, your team only gave up 23 points in the first half, gave up 5 combined points to Georgia Tech's 2 top scorers. What is it about your team that allowed it to come back after just one day of practice and to play such strong defense early on?
Yeah, well, thank you. It's a good point. It was really the key to the game. We are a good defensive team, and when we played Ohio State, we got tired, but it was more from travel. And they made you tired too. And we stopped playing defense. And tonight we did not do that. We talked about it at halftime. I told them, I said, I know you guys are tired, but you cannot be tired on the defensive end. You can't be Ohio State, where we give up buckets like that. So we're maturing, and hopefully we learned from that game. And defense is really the key to our team.
Along the lines of maturing and the defense still being strong in the second half, it doesn't seem like we've seen the cramping issues come up in quite a while. Is that
I can't.
It doesn't feel like we've seen the cramping issues in quite a while. Is that part of the maturity too?
It's the prayer, a rosary or two for you non-Catholics. Those are the beads we use. I do think we've taken steps in our diet, nutrition, before, our normal, but also the day or two before a game and after a game to address those issues. But that's a good point. That'd been a hell of a thing tonight if we got that. Yeah.
Anything else? All right, Coach, thank you.
Okay, thank you.